What's up YouTube, it's your boy Nash here, welcome back to the channel, and welcome to another episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. This week's episode is rather, I guess, a discussion of sorts on the question of who should challenge Sheamus for the United States Championship. Now, if you guys remember, Sheamus had won the title from Riddle back at WrestleMania, back when the WWE Universe was back for one night, for 2 nights only. And since that night, Sheamus has not defended the United States title. Not once. And obviously, yes, he sort of defended it against Humberto Carrillo, but that was only because he jumped him from behind, and that was pretty much that. So with that, it begs the question: who's next to challenge for the title? Obviously, so when you look at the talent, the roster that's on Raw. What the hell is up with my hair? My hair is being stupid. My hair is being stupid. Anyway, you have AJ Styles, you have Akira Tozawa, you have Angel Garza, you've got Bobby Lashley, you've got Cedric Alexander, you've got Damian Priest, you've got Eric, you've got Elias, Drew McIntyre, Drew Gulak, you've got Gran Metalik, you've got Humberto Carrillo, you've got Ivar, you've got Jeff Hardy, Jackson Riker, Jinder Mahal, John Morrison, Keith Lee, Mace, Lindsay Dorado, Kofi Kingston, Mansoor. You've got Mustafa Ali, you got Omos, R-Truth, Randy Orton, Ricochet, Reggie. Apparently now he's a part of the Raw roster. Riddick Moss, apparently, I think he got fired last year if I remember right. Riddle again, Shelton Benjamin, and you even also have The Miz and Xavier Woods as well. There's a good long list of talent that would be more than perfect for Sheamus and his reign as champion. So let's actually go down the list a little bit. So let's start with AJ Styles. AJ Styles, he's actually a I believe a 3-time United States champion. He's held the title 3 times, and all three of his runs, he defended the title against all comers. And not only that, he's also a 2-time WWE champion. He's a Raw Tag Team champion, and also he's also a former Intercontinental champion as well. That makes him a or I guess technically it makes him a Grand Slam champion, but there are still a couple of championships that he has yet to win in WWE. One of them is obviously being the SmackDown Tag Team titles, and of course the Universal title as well. And then you have Akira Tozawa. He's a former Cruiserweight champion. He's a former multi-time 24/7 champion. He's basically trying to revive his career that he had when he was Cruiserweight champion a number of years ago. And Angel Garza, he's also a former Cruiserweight champion as well. Bobby Lashley, the current WWE champion, he's also a former 2-time United States champion as well. Cedric Alexander, another former Cruiserweight champion. You've got Damian Priest, who is a former who's a former NXT North American champion, and he might be the odds-on favorite to challenge for the title against Sheamus. Ooh, excuse me. And then, of course, you have Drew Gulak, another former Cruiserweight champion. Drew McIntyre, a multi-time tag team champion, a former NXT champion, a former Intercontinental champion, a 2-time WWE champion, and a Royal Rumble winner. Elias, a former 24/7 champion. Eric and Ivar, both former NXT and NXT tag team champions, former Raw tag team champions as well. You've got Humberto Carrillo, who's still trying to get his footing into the WWE ranks. You've got Grand Metalik, who was the runner up in the Cruiserweight Classic. You've got Jackson Riker, who was once a part of the faction known as the Forgotten Sons, but now he's out doing his own thing. You've got Jeff Hardy, who's also a former U.S. champion, is a multi-time Intercontinental champion, a 4-time world champion, multi-time tag team champion. You got Keith Lee, the only man in WWE in WWE history to hold both the NXT and the NXT North American titles in a single run, which is incredible. Then of course John Morrison, the only title that has eluded him the most is obviously the United States title, but also the WWE title has also eluded him as well. But the reason being was because of the fact that The Miz, in my opinion, I feel like The Miz is holding Morrison back because with Miz's injury, still happening, in which I was right. That actually happened. That happened at Backlash. That injury took place at Backlash, and he's been out ever since, which is kind of interesting to say the very least. But with his injuries, Morrison might be able to break out, but only time will tell. And then of course you've got Jinder Mahal, a former WWE champion, a former United States champion as well. He has had some success in WWE, but it could be possible with the fact that he's got Shanky and Veer in his corner. It is possible. And then of course Kofi Kingston, he's had so much success in WWE over the last I keep moving, my desk keeps moving for some reason. Him being a former WWE champion, I believe a 3-time United States champion, 5-time Intercontinental champion if I remember right, 14-time tag team champion across 5 different men? CM Punk, Evan Bourne, R-Truth, Big E, and Xavier Woods. So 5 different men, which is insane. And then, of course, Lince Dorado also trying to get his foot in as well. Mace putting his foot in as well. Mansoor barely starting out. But with Mustafa Ali, who I'm going to talk about next, backing him up, I feel like he could very may well become the next U.S. champion, which is very possible. But so can Mustafa Ali. He can also be a potential candidate to face Sheamus for the title, as could MVP if he wasn't so injured. People forget he's one of the longest reigning United States champions of the last 30 years, if I remember right. The last 30 years, he's one of the longest reigning champions of all time. In fact, actually, in 2007, if you guys remember, when he won the title, and we all know what happened, of course, he held the title for well over a year. He even took the title into the Money in the Bank ladder match at WrestleMania the following year in 2008. So another candidate. Randy Orton is another good candidate, he being a former champion himself. R-Truth, a former 2-time champion as well. Omos, with his size, that could help him out. But Reggie, I feel like with Reggie's skill, with his agility, if you will, that might help him out. But we all know when it comes to Sheamus, he can stop anybody's agility like that. Like that. And then, of course, you also have Ricochet as well, being a former champion himself, also being a former North American champion in NXT, and also alongside Aleister Black, or I guess now he goes by Malachi Black, if I remember right. I've seen on social media that that's his name now. I don't know where, but hey, it's all good. But Ricochet and Black had won the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic back in 2019, just a couple of years ago. Went up against the Viking Raiders for the NXT Tag Titles and ended up losing. But the next night at WrestleMania, they killed it. They fucking killed it. And then, of course, you also had Riddle, the man that Sheamus took the title off of. Potential rematch, perhaps. Riddick Moss, I think he's still under contract with WWE. I'm not sure. I haven't heard anything. But as far as we know, I believe he is still under contract with WWE. So it is interesting to say the very least. That Riddick Moss could be in line for a shot at the title, which is very, very possible. And then of course, too, Shelton Benjamin. He's also a former U.S. champion. The Miz, if he were to come, if his injuries weren't as bad as we thought, then maybe he could also challenge Xavier Woods. He has never held a singles title since coming to WWE a number of years ago. So he could potentially be next in line for the title as well. I know that we also have Slapjack and and also Titus O'Neil, but Slapjack, we haven't seen him in months. And Titus O'Neil has become more so of an ambassador more than a WWE superstar, because with him as an ambassador, he's basically able to not only give back to the communities out there in the world, but from what I've been hearing, I've heard rumors that he's also out searching for new talent, to get signed to NXT, to the Performance Center and whatnot. Maybe he could search for YouTube content creators to work with WWE. Hello. Who knows? But going back to the question, who should really challenge for the United States title? If I had to pick four people that could potentially be potential candidates, I would say AJ Styles, Damian Priest, Drew McIntyre, and John Morrison. AJ Styles, because obviously he's traveled the world, he's honed his craft, he's become he's gotten so much better in the ring with Omos than he did when he was Intercontinental Champion last year. So that could be one. I mean, that could be a really good candidate for Sheamus' reign as champion. Damian Priest, I feel like Damian Priest could very well be the biggest threat to Sheamus' reign as champion, because because people forget Priest is a former North American champion. In fact, if I remember right, he held the title. I believe I actually have it written down on my card in my book here. If I remember correctly, let's see. Hang on, guys. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. For about 5. Yeah, so he held the North American title for about 6 months before losing the title to Johnny Gargano, and in the worst way possible, with a bunch of ghost faces. Can't say I'm surprised about Gargano, about Johnny Gargano, but he could be a big threat to Sheamus' reign as champion because of that. Because of how good he is in the ring. His Muay Thai Jiu-Jitsu background, his MMA background could really help him out against a guy like Sheamus. And if those two were to face off at a pay-per-view like SummerSlam, it could draw big ratings for Monday Night Raw. Drew McIntyre, this is actually the only championship Drew has never held in his entire career. He's held the WWE title twice. He's held the tag team titles twice. Once with Cody Rhodes, the second was with Dolph Ziggler when he came back to Monday Night Raw. He's a former Intercontinental Champion, and he's also a Royal Rumble winner as well. Plus, he's also competed in a few Money in the Bank ladder matches, including the last one that took place at WrestleMania before it became a pay-per-view. So, yeah, that again. And plus, nobody knows Sheamus personally better than Drew McIntyre, so he could be another candidate. And then again, John Morrison. This is another man who has never held the title before, but he has held Tag Team Gold. He's held the Intercontinental title, but he's also held the ECW title as well. So he could be again another big threat to Sheamus' reign as champion. So again, who do I think should face Sheamus? Those four: Morrison, McIntyre, Priest, and AJ Styles. Those are just my thoughts anyway. Let me know in the comments below who you guys believe should face Sheamus for the United States Championship. And that is going to do it for this episode of WWE's Biggest Issue. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button if you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more episodes of WWE's Biggest Issue, which gets posted every Monday. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you guys do not miss out on any new content that comes your way. And be sure to follow me on Twitter and Instagram. The links will be down in the description. And if you guys have fan mail that you want to send me and want me to open up on the channel, my address will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.